Good morning. Good morning. I couldn't wait to Wednesday to get back to you. Good morning. This is Rich Wallace, and you have joined an episode of Strictly Business on EdgeTVNetwork.net. We're on Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, and as well as on our YouTube channel at the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce. Go to our website, pick up our YouTube channel, and hey, if you'd like to be on this show, all you got to do is go to EdgeTVNetwork.net. Say that again. That's Edge, EDGE, EdgeTVNetwork.net. Sign up to be a guest on our show. We're here on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Southern California time. So we'd love to have you come out. This is Strictly Business, and that's what we're here for. We have a lot of fun. We like to talk about different things, but it's about business, your business, information you need to be able to connect the dots from the desert to the sea. And that's what we do here. I want to say hello to my friends that are joining out in the New York area. It's a little late there on the timeline, so they love coming out and hanging out with us. So we're going to get right into it. We've been talking about how do you convert from an entrepreneur, I call it a every Friday, to an entrepreneur. You got a check coming when you go to work on your job, wherever you work, you get a paycheck every other Friday or every Friday or whenever payday is. That's a wonderful thing. But as an entrepreneur, you have to produce money every day to be able to survive in this game and to be able to take your business to the next level. We love to see you at the next level or be able to maintain at the level you're at. Everybody's not trying to get to the next step. And one of the things that you know about steps is that when you take one, the other one just kind of comes along. So as you move forward in your day-to-day operation, maintaining the level that you're at, the next level will just show up and you won't even know that you switch from one level to the next level. And that's how you get higher, higher, and higher. It's a wonderful thing to be able to connect from the desert to the sea. I am so glad you guys are here with us this morning. Once again, my name is Rich Wallace, and you have joined an episode of Strictly Business. We've got a guest, Mr. Alejandro, coming up right after our break, and we're going to be talking to him about his business, or what they're doing, and how they're going to be responding to some things that we're doing here on Strictly Business. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to take a short commercial break, and we will be right back with our guests.
Are you ready to change your life? Let us help you. At Youth Build Charter School, you can get a high school diploma and kickstart your dream career in no time. We offer high school diploma programs in construction, CNA, military, college, and entrepreneurship. If you are between the age of 16 and 24 and you want to manage your studies with a job, recover your credits, or graduate early, we can help you achieve your dream. Call us at 1-888-395-4408 or visit youthbuildinlandempire.org.
That is the Chamber of Commerce's educational program through Youth Power Community Solutions. We manage a youth build program to help young people get their high school diploma. And when I say young people, that's 16 to 30. So if you don't have it, you can come on back over here and get it. And we'll be more than glad. We have a full high school experience, prom night, grad night, all of those things that you missed because you had to get a job or whatever the case may be. So we'd love to have you at Youth Build Inland Empire over here at Youth Power Community Solutions, where we're going to be adding some trade programs coming up this fall, and it's just going to be a wonderful thing. Well, we're going to get to our guests. We have, I want to introduce you to Mr. Alejandro. Hey, sir, how are you doing?
Good. How about yourself, Rich?
I
Good
am
morning.
good. I'm glad you could make it over here to hang out with us this morning. It's a little early, but it's not early for entrepreneurs. It's and my dad used to say, if you're on time, you're late. So so you need to be up early. Tell us a little about what you do, sir.
Well, my firm is called D&E Management Solutions. And what I do is I help organizations with their work environments. I help managers teach them how to manage people with dignity, with respect, and with success. And I wrote a book that just was released in January called Enlightened Management, and it's available on Amazon.com. And I wrote a book about my 35 years as a manager, uh, and what I've seen, what I think works. And the most important thing is how managers can have a positive impact on all the people they work with. Um, I've worked for very good managers. I've worked for mediocre managers, and unfortunately, I've also worked for very bad managers. The bad managers were a waste of time, effort, and money, and they cause a lot of unneeded stress to individuals like myself and their staff. And speaking about entrepreneurs, uh, as your business grows, you're going to manage people, hopefully, have a whole team of people. That's the goal to work in your business. And how do you motivate them? How do you keep them engaged? How do you keep them loyal? How do you keep them striving for more? And the message in my book is that we can all get there together. The sky's the limit, but you have to have the right philosophy, right theory on how to work with your people as partners and how to all strive for the same goal. So, again, it took me about 5 years to write the book, and it's about my personal experiences, what I've seen, what I've done. And the major message is, you know, to leave a positive impact with all the people we work with. And how do you get things done with, tapping into people's resources, their talents? How do you keep them motivated? Again, how do you keep them engaged? And I called it enlightened management because it takes a certain philosophy to do it that way. And I want to tell big organizations as well that they need to invest on hiring and training the right management people in their organizations. Because if you have high turnover rate, if you have HR complaints, if you have people who are not happy, you're never going to meet your goals. You're never going to reach the top. Uh, so you need your people. You need them vested in your business, and you need them loyal and dedicated in order to reach that next level.
Alejandro, when you, as an entrepreneur or business owner, you are focused on running your business. If you're a cake baker, you want the best cake that you can make. If you're a mechanic, you want to focus on how to fix cars so that the people are not bringing them back. But there's no management skill in managing the people
Right.
because, and then sometimes being an independent owner, you get a little frustrated if things are not moving in the direction that you want to move them in, or people are not moving fast enough. I owned a bunch of restaurants at one point, and I see people standing around chit chatting, maybe just for a couple of minutes of stuff, but they're on the clock. And I'm thinking, okay, man, I could send these two people home, or I could do this, or I could do that, because even as a great manager or a bad manager, you're paying those people to be there. And how, for an example, how is a manager to keep? And you say, oh, well, to keep people motivated, or to keep them engaged. Okay, they're there to work. They took the job. They say they were going to do the job. You hired them, and now they're not cleaning off the tables fast enough. So as a manager, in motivating people and without ticking them off, because today, a lot of openings, and you know what, I don't have to put up with you. I'm out of here.
Right.
And I didn't mean it that way. I might have raised my voice, but I'm so motivated and trying to get what I'm trying to get. How do you handle a person to get them engaged?
Right. Well, it starts off with hiring the right people. You know,
So
getting the right people in the right
in the
spots.
door.
Pardon?
So don't just take anybody that's coming in the door.
Right. You have to do your homework. You have to interview, make sure they have the right skills, make sure they have the right attitude, the right
I
background.
don't have time for that. I got to run a business.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah,
But in the long run, it's going to pay off because
yeah.
if you have a high turnover rate, it's going to affect your bottom line. It's going to affect the customer service that you want to provide. Now, as I mentioned, I have 35 years in management. I've worked at UPS. I've worked at Kaiser Permanente. I've worked at Gannett. I worked at KPMG. And at UPS, they taught us one very important thing that to this day I always remember. As a manager, it is your responsibility that your people succeed. Now, Once you hire them, you have to train, train, and train, and even retrain.
Mm.
They told me if they fail, that doesn't look good on you. And they also told me hiring people costs money. Losing them costs even more. Hiring the replacements costs money as well. So
Training is tough because you got to retrain that person, and you spend all that time working on training this guy. Now I got to train this guy,
exactly,
and but this guy wasn't doing his job. He promised he was going to do the job, Alejandro. He told me he was going to do these things, and he looked good. He dressed nice, and but once he got the job, he just got to kick back. So, do you do a preliminary kind of training? When I hired people, I would tell them the worst part about the job. I
right.
tell them the very worst. The dishes are not going to be clean. The chicken's not going to get here on time. And how do you handle? I tried to put them in bad scenarios and ask them how they would handle them, and that was kind of my key in how I chose people. But how would you look at that when you say you got to hire the right people? Are there questions that key questions in your book that I would look at and say, okay, I can ask these questions and I can do this?
Well, some of the questions you can ask is, you look at their work history, how long they've stayed in other jobs. Again, you look at the type of places they've worked at. Is it relevant to your business? Uh, Very important is to make sure they have references. Call the references, 3 to 5 references. Follow up on that. Make sure you call each and every one of them and listen to their tone, listen to what they're saying, that kind of thing. Um, then I say, you know, I would the top 5 candidates, scrutinize, 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 come in third interviews and make sure that you can relate to them and make sure they understand the job, make sure the schedule, they understand the schedule, and then have a training guide for each and every positions in your company or in your organization. Have a template and make sure you check off on this day I trained this person, I'm doing this, and that. And keep training them. At UPS, we had a booklet this thick, a 30-day training period. You go over all these things and you have them sign off on it. I trained this person and that, trained this person and that. So you invest in them and they know that, hey, this is something that I need to learn. Now, when you're an entrepreneur, it gets a little, if it's different, entrepreneur working for a big
Hmm.
organization. An entrepreneur,
Right.
this is your life, your day-to-day life. Like you said, you have to get paid. But in the long run, investing in the right people, investing in training them, investing in motivating them is going to pay off, because if not, you're just going to be running around in circles trying to hire the next person, trying to train the next person. Now, like you said, today there's a lot of jobs out there. People have a lot of choices. And I always tell businesses and entrepreneurs is, what can you offer good, solid employees that other organizations can't? Can you offer them $1 million? Probably not. But can you offer them a steady, schedule? Can you offer them a great place to work? Can you offer them a fulfilling job? And in the old days, people used to be like, "Man, I put in 40-hour work week. Now it's time to relax." And people, took pride. They still do in their work.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, 9 to 5. I'm gonna bust my butt and get through it. Now it's all about motivating. In my book, I talk about how I've interacted with different types of employees. Some employees have been a little difficult at the beginning. I got to know them. I got to know what motivated them. There was one young man at UPS who all the other managers and supervisors did not want to work with because they thought he wasn't a good worker. So one day he came to work with me, and I worked with him, trained them, and I said, "Oh, you got to do it this way," retrain them, and things like that. And then at the end of the night, I was, we finished up a little early, so I asked anybody, "Does anybody want to go home?" He raised his hand. I said, "Okay, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow." So then I learned that he wanted to go home as early as possible every night. The other employees were fine with that because they wanted more hours. So I made a deal with the young man. I said, "Look, you come in here, you do your job, and I'll get you out of here as soon as possible." And I did it. I kept my word, and the guy was amazing. He really stepped it up. And the other managers and supervisors saw that, and they asked him. They said, "What happened? You never worked like that for me." And he said, "Alejandro, I trust him. He kept his word, and I know he appreciates what I do, and I know that I can trust him." So those are the kind of relationships that we need to build with people. It takes time, absolutely, but investing on hiring the right people, investing in training them, investing on making them feel comfortable at work, making them feel comfortable to make mistakes. People make mistakes, but how do you correct them? Sometimes, like I said earlier, you have to retrain them over and over again. Another thing that UPS taught me was if someone is not doing very well in one position, see if they could shine in another position. We did that a lot. We would transfer people different areas and see how it worked out. And it worked out for me one time when I first started there. They transferred me around until I found my niche, and I became a supervisor there. So don't give up on
Yeah, I kind of look at that as in football or sports. As a coach, you're on the sideline and you're watching the players, and all through high school or college, they had you as a wide receiver. But I noticed you really can't catch that well. So,
true.
but you make a great running back.
Right.
So you move people around because you have the ability to sit on the sideline and watch, and then see how they exercise and how they lift weights and all of this kinds of things. So that is great. I want to go back to a couple things. One, I want to because I worked at Gannett.
Oh, yeah.
So when you mention Gannett, I'm like, oh, it always buzzes. And anytime you're working with people and you mention where they worked at, you find some kind of foundation. What did you do for Gannett?
I was in their sales department. I worked for
Okay.
USA Weekend Magazine.
Oh, okay, okay. And I was in the sales department. I ran the Desert Sun in Palm Springs when they used to own a newspaper.
Oh, yeah, they had a
Uh,
lot of newspapers.
yeah, yeah, so I'm a old newspaper guy. And Gannett moved me around a lot. Every time they buy a paper, they would send the sales
Wow.
manager, and I was a sales manager, and I would go over here, train the new staff on how they work. Because back then there were so many. I think one company now kind of runs most of the newspapers, but then the competition was great, and Gannett owned a lot of papers and stuff. So I moved around as a salesperson in that department. But that was great. There's a tie in there for us. When you talk about training books, now I know UPS, Gannett, all of these companies, they have training books, but Joe's Pizza Parlor, you know, Richard's Restaurants, we got a basic outline. So, in putting a training book together, should an entrepreneur get with, uh, how do you put one of those together? I mean, you say, oh, get a training book, train them. I'm like, well, so do you go through your day and go, this is what I do? And then you start making, how would an entrepreneur that's listening to this to say, okay, I need a training book? Where's that guy start?
Right. It's a training template, a training guide. It doesn't necessarily have to be a training book, but it's a very simple. It could be a one-sheeter, with bullet points. Okay, we open in the morning. We answer emails. We follow up with calls. We open the store. How do you open the store? How do you close it? How do you deal with customers? That kind of thing. Very simple, just bullet points. Where you can
Okay.
check off and say, "Hey, this is one template." They're also called SOPs, standard operating procedures, where you can just say, "Hey, this is how it works." You can be as specific as you want or as general as you want, but you always have something to work off of. I know it's a lot of people do it instinctually or just, oh, this is what you need to do and stuff, but have it written down on paper. It makes it easier for the trainer and the person being trained so they could refer back to something. Oh, this is how you do that. Oh, this is how you do this. So it's always a great reference point to use. It doesn't have to be very elaborate. It could be very simple. Bullet points, A through Z, 1 through 10 kind of thing. That's a way to start. As you go along, you could make it more specific, and you one day will have a book if you'd like. But at the
Yeah.
beginning, it could be a one-sheeter. This is what we do from A to Z, from opening to closing, pre-open, post closing. I worked with a gentleman who owns coffee houses. And what I did in there, I put these templates together as, okay, what do we do in the opening? What time do we open? How do we prep? What do we do throughout the day? And then when you close, how do you close? So every time he hires a new person, he has this template that he goes over with them, and he gives it to them and says, study it, look it over, refer back to it for training.
Okay. Okay. So, and you mentioned also, and we're kind of focusing on entrepreneurs because these guys, and in the minority industry, business industry, most people started a business because they lost their job.
Mhm.
They had a business idea in their mind. They had some kind of business plan they've been working on with their cousin for the last 15 years. Then all of a sudden they don't have a job anymore and they go, I'm going to do this. But they don't have a plan. They don't have a training book for employees. They don't even understand the employee payroll tax, which is different kind of money, you know, or an employee handbook. So, and I tell people you live in a digital age today, so you have the ability uh, you have the ability to be able to go online, go to what is it, Google or Amazon or one of those places, and get a sample. The new artificial stuff that is out, uh, I guess, and I'm over 70, so I don't use it.
Yeah.
So, but I hear so much about it. So I guess a small business could put the information in and get a training manual or an employee manual of some kind to be able to manage his business, because we're going into more of an information age than we've ever had before, because it comes to us so fast.
Yeah.
So fast, and then it leaves us so fast, because by the time you get a software program and you learn how to work it, there's an update.
Right.
So now, if I'm looking at your book, what am I looking for as a small business? This sounds good. I want to order this book on Amazon, and I'm reading the book. What is the book going to give me that I can say to my entrepreneur friend down the street, you should get this book? I read a book once called Multiple Streams of Income, and it excited me. I was just so pumped about it. But when I gave it to my friend, they kind of read it and they go, this is too much. That's multitasking. This is this, I just want to do one thing at one time and get a check for this. What am I going to get that I can pass to the next entrepreneur? Say, you need to get this book, man.
Right. Well, my focus is on managing people. Now, a lot of people don't see themselves as managers. A lot of people see themselves as entrepreneurs or researchers or whatnot. But I always tell people, right now I'm doing some work with UCLA with students, and I tell them that if you're good at in your field, you're probably going to manage people. If you become an entrepreneur, start your own business, you're going to manage people. My book is how to manage people with respect, dignity, and success. How to develop those relationships with the people that work for you or you work with. How to build trust, how to build respect and dignity. The impact for everybody in the workplace will be positive, not only individuals, but also for the business. Like I said, I was working for this big organization, and that's what motivated me to write the book, was the fact that I didn't like working there. I didn't feel I was treated right. So that was 5 years ago, and I decided to write a book about it. I was like, none of us deserve to be treated this way anywhere, especially at work. Why are these people are losing so much by not treating their people well? They're losing a lot of, talent. They're losing money. They're losing customers. Focus on developing these relationships with your people. Not only is it good for business, which is important for entrepreneurs, but it's also very good for society. Because when I was going through that hard time at work, It affected my personal life. I couldn't sleep. I didn't want to go to work. I was looking for another job. So you lose when you don't treat your people well, when you don't motivate them, when you don't engage them, when you don't train them the right way, when you're not transparent with them. So it's a book about the work environment. Entrepreneurs have a work environment. Every organization, every job has a work environment. And my book is about, building those trusting relationships where we can all reach for the top. It takes work, especially for entrepreneurs who are, like you said, it's a hustle and bustle every day to try to get to the next level. But you have to offer your people something in order for them to stay motivated, engaged, and loyal. And if you can't offer them a lot of money, offer them a great work environment. Grow together, and my book, I made a short film many years ago with a very small budget. And how did I get it done? I talk about that in my book. I motivated people. I sold the idea. I treated them well. I appreciated them. I was constantly checking in on them to make sure they were okay. We made this film, we hired, we needed a cinematographer, we needed lighting, sound, we needed actors, we needed locations. How did I do it with no money?
Yeah.
I did it by motivating people, by building trust and treating people well. And that's a great example for any entrepreneur or any business, and say, how do I get things done? How do I get a great team around me? How do we reach that level up here? It's about motivating. It's about trust, respect. It's about investing time and effort and being authentic, being kind to people so they appreciate working with you. They like coming to work. I mean, I always tell people, would you rather have your employees hate coming to work, or don't mind coming to work, or actually enjoy coming to work? It makes a difference. It makes a difference to the customers that they're interacting with. If they're happy at their business, it's going to show in their service. So this philosophy is about, building that trust and respect and investing in your team. It's about the work environment, and everybody needs to invest and really take a look at their work environment and make sure that they're offering their people the right resources and tools to grow together.
We're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna give you a minute, Mr. Alejandro. Well, maybe not that long, but I want to find out: are you going to be training managers to manage people, hands on? Because as you were talking about training, okay, I need to be trained on, because we live in a different world today. People don't want to be called certain he or she or them or they or this or that. How do you manage people? So we need to start a training class on managers to manage people. I'll be right back.
One of the secrets to exposure for your business lies within supporting Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And that is why the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is here, to connect Black businesses from the desert to the sea. Let's join hands to empower and sustain our community. By becoming a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you can grow your business and increase your clientele. With our innovation, we'll generate new businesses and get new customers. And we'll connect new mindsets with businesses from across Southern California to help bridge the wealth gap. Let's connect, build, and grow together. Join us now at blackchamberofcommerce.org.
And if you're not a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you need to join. It's only $200 a year, and you become a member from the desert to the sea. We have 15 chapters, and there's one I know someplace near you, an opportunity to network and connect and to get this valuable information. We're going to bring Mr. Alejandro back, and we're going to talk about training the trainer. as you see behind me, we have our celebrity golf tournament coming up on Juneteenth. We're going to be at Brookside Country Club playing golf, connecting, networking with people. We're going to have some vendors out there. I'm going to see if I can get Alejandro to come out there and sell some of his books, bring some, set up a table out there, because these are managers that need to know how to manage. So it's a great opportunity to network. Go to our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org and you can get all that information. Hey, Alejandro, so that's where I'm at now, is talking to, because you got me buzzing here, and I'm an idea guy, because I'm trying to find the easy way to work without working. And managing people is a difficult process. I had one restaurant and I was pretty good at it. I was doing well. And the corporate office came to me and they go, "Hey, we have a couple other spots and, you're doing so well. We'd like for you to consider it." I'm like, "Yeah, bring them on." So I took that. And one day I looked around and I had 7 locations and 200 employees.
Wow. Yeah.
That was, I hadn't, I got people skills, but people skills are not management skills.
Mhm.
That makes a nice guy, but at the same time, a lot of times people don't clean the table for the nice guy. I would go to other owners' restaurants and I go, "Man, how you get your people to do this or to do that?" And he would say, "My people fear me. You're too nice to your people." And I'm thinking, wow, but I don't want people to come to work, like you said, angry.
Mhm.
So are you beginning to, with your book and other things, begin to go out and train? Because entrepreneurs are the ones that need the training in managing people.
Yeah.
Companies like UPS and those people, they got a room, a conference room, and they sit around 4 or 5 hours a day talking about how to do this and how to do that. And they come out of that room with great ideas because they got, Kappa Alpha mind people in there. But entrepreneurs just gunning and running, Are you looking at bringing some entrepreneurs into some kind of training course?
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, sooner or later, if you're start a business or you start your career and you're good at your career and your business is going to start growing, you're going to manage people. You are going to manage people, and it's important to know how to manage people. In my book, Enlightened Management, I have examples of what I went through as a manager all these years. I had some tough situations that I worked through. I had some, situations that, a light bulb went off in me and said, "Oh, okay, this is the way I motivate people. This is the way I engage with people," kind of thing. So yeah, I do workshops, trainings. As I mentioned, I'm doing some work at UCLA right now, and a lot of these students, when they're going off into their careers, I mentor them. I speak to them about becoming a manager. But like I said, a lot of people are going to go into research or in the science fields, and they don't look at themselves as managers. But again,
They're not managers. They're just people doing what they're doing. And if there's no real training on, because even a people friendly person is not a manager until you know how to manage people, and people are the highest thing you got in your company. The
exactly.
most expensive thing that you have, or person that you have, is a person.
Yeah.
And if that person is not doing what you thought you'd hire them to do, how do you pivot them around? And in today's things that we have going on, because you can call me dude and offend me. You could call me hey and offend me. So how do you manage people without upending them into, "I was not really trying to say that. I just wanted you to pick up the paper," And if you say pick up the paper to the wrong nationality in front of certain people, "Oh, you just asking the black people to pick up the paper," So how do because you got to navigate today. I mean, it's not like old days when you was with Gannett and things were like this and that. When I worked for Gannett, I managed several people out in Palm Springs, the Desert Sun newspaper, and back in San Bernardino, San Bernardino Sun, and over at the San Gabriel Valley Tribune. So I worked and I managed people, but it was a skill, and you had to, and there was no management training. because
Right.
they wanted me to sell ads. They wanted the people to sell ads. They wanted you to put the ads together. So how do you, besides commission dollars, how do you motivate? Because some jobs don't come with commission dollars. They come with sweeping the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked with all sorts of people. I've worked with union members. I've worked with dock workers. I've worked with physicians. I've worked with RNs. I've worked with VPs, directors. I've worked with all sorts of people. And one thing that you said stands out. It's all about communication. It's all about respect. No matter what generation, Rich, it's about respect. Learning what people's definition of respect is and respecting them. Yes, we're human beings. We're going to fail. We're going to say things maybe someone takes the wrong way. But as long as you step back and say, hey, I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry. Now I understand how you'd like to be approached about this. It doesn't matter. Like right now, I'm working with all these young students, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. It's the same thing with them. You start off with respect and you build those relationships, and they'll give you that respect right back. It doesn't matter what generation. It's being honest and open. And I use the word kind instead of nice. Nice to me seems like people walk all over nice people. You're kind, but you get the job done. So it is sort of an art to be an enlightened manager. But if you're open to it and you really want to manage people and be fulfilled at work, at your business, and outside of work, enlightened management is easy to attain if you're open to it. So treat people as individuals. How do you work with this individual person? This individual person may be different. Like the example of the young man at UPS. He wanted to go home early. I found that out about it. So I let him go home early. That motivated him to come to work every day. I'm going to bust my butt because I know Alejandro's going to let me go home early if given the chance. You have to individualize your management style, and it takes time. But respect is across generations. What people consider respectful could be different. That's why you ask the questions, and that's why if something is taken out of context or the wrong way, apologize and say, let's start over again. Now I understand that you don't like to be talked to that way, or you don't like. It's fine, but it's about respect, respect. And you start with that, and the sky's the limit. In my book, I give examples of dealing with all sorts of people, and it always comes down to me being able to go home at the end of the day and say, you know what, I treated everyone as best I could with the most respect possible, and I never wavered from that.
Okay.
So it's about that, and investing in your people, investing in your skills. Like you said, people are not trained to be managers. A lot of times, the next day you're a supervisor, you're a manager. Like, okay, thanks. It's more money, but I've never managed people. What do I do? So I do put on workshops, trainings. As a matter of fact, I have this business. I'm going to do a workshop on Friday morning with a business about my philosophy, the work environment. This person's very interested in learning more about my philosophy and how they can utilize it with their team, so everyone is on the same page, and everyone is striving for the same goal, and everyone is content and happy at work. Like I said, you have to offer something. When I was at KPMG, they offered me a great salary, right? That was one thing, but the work environment wasn't perfect. So if you can't offer a great salary, offer something else, right? Or offer both if you can.
We've got a conference coming up in October. It was our mergers and acquisition conference last year, but it's going to be our business summit. And I think we probably will add a component to that in how to manage people, and it'll be a 3-day workshop out, and we're looking at Palm Springs area for 2 or 3 of those days, and how to manage people. But I got to ask you this, because you're right on target, managing the good guy, turning him around, doing these kinds of things. That's all good when the stars line up. But now you got an angry person. Nothing you do is going to make them happy. You can't fire them. you know. But how do you deal with you're always picking on me? You're
Right.
always, what is that old song? Charlie Brown, you're always picking on me.
Yeah.
Why you come over here bothering me?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand that, and I've had those experiences. Uh, I started a new job at Kaiser one time, and the people who were reporting to me, they were very cold toward me. And someone had let me know that one of the staff had said that their goal was to make sure I failed in this new position.
Ooh.
So I felt bad about it. I was like, wow, I've never done anything to this person. I don't mean any harm to them. So I kept working with my team. I built the trust. I kept training them and showing, valuing their history with the organization, valuing their talents and their resourcefulness. 6 months later, this me and this person had a great working relationship. Great working relationship. So you can win people over. You have to invest the time. You have to be open and communicate and you know try to step back and say, okay, let's diffuse this situation. Let's talk. What do I need to do in order to get you, back on track? What do I need to do for you, to come in and do your job? Sometimes people just want to do their jobs and go home, and that's fine. And other times people have these great ideas, and that's even better to make things more effective or efficient. So it's
I
taking.
want to ask you, I want to cut you off because I want to
Okay.
ask you before I forget about the person, because I'm sticking with the entrepreneurs
Yeah.
that come in and they got a great idea. You should do this. You
Yeah.
should put this over here. This doesn't fit right here. How do you deal with those excited people that have a great idea? But Alejandro, you already did that. You tried that idea. It did not work.
Yeah.
So how do I keep this motivated person that I have that's got all of these great ideas that came to me? They worked at UPS, they worked at FedEx, they worked over here and they worked over
Yeah.
there, so they know how to do work and they're good workers.
Yeah.
But they're sometimes a worker, a good employee is supposed to be an entrepreneur, which makes
Yeah.
them a frustrated employee, because they got to have a job. They're trying to feed their family, but they're actually supposed to be running their own business. So when they come to you now and they got all these ideas, and you're not like UPS or FedEx, you're open to change and to listen and these kinds of things. How do you keep that person to on staff motivated, because you may want to make them your manager, and then you got your manager and that manager is changing your rules? Wait a minute, why are you doing that? Well, the manager told me to do this. Well, that's not the way we do things. How do you deal with that?
Well, I'm a big believer in giving. Once you promote, like you just said, you make them managers because they have this great, way of looking at things, and they have an entrepreneurial spirit. Giving managers autonomy, allowing them to try things. And if it doesn't work, come back and say, hey, we tried it. It didn't work. Let's go back to the old way. But there was nothing wrong with it. You have to give them time to grow. You have to give them, you have to keep those ideas coming. So I would say autonomy is huge. Yes, sometimes things, like you said, you've tried them before. And you could be honest and say, you know what? We actually tried that. It didn't work. Do you have anything else? Is there any other ideas you have? But keep their minds open. Keep them thinking, because in the long run, it's going to benefit you if they have some great ideas. Even if they have one great idea, that could change the game. Now, you have to be honest with each other and say, hey, I tried that, it didn't work, or why don't we try it this way? I've worked with teams my whole career, and I always ask each of them their opinions of certain projects. And some of them have great ideas, and we've ran with it, and it's worked. And others, we came as a team and said, I don't think that's going to work because this, and that. But do you have something else? You have to have a buy-in. You have to have okay, you have to give and take. You want to try this idea? Let's try it. Doesn't work? Let's go back to my idea. Autonomy is super important to keep people motivated and engaged and coming up with those ideas. So I would say someone like that person, keep them on your team. Keep working with them. Let them fly. And at the same time, be honest with them when things don't work. It's a relationship. And you build relationships through trust, through transparency, and through respect. It'll work out. So, a big believer in autonomy.
Big believer in autonomy. One of the things that I run into a lot of authors, young people like yourself, that when I say young, young in the book writing business. This is your first book,
Yes, it is.
so you're excited about it, you're pumped about it, and do you have an inventory of books with you to
Well,
sell?
I do have an inventory of books that I can give out, but they're on Amazon. I publish through Amazon, self-published, which is a whole different world. My
And
wife
that's
is
what I'm going to talk to you about is that
yeah,
whole self-publishing thing,
absolutely.
because I have people, several people that publish their books on Amazon, and they tell me, "Hey, you can get my book on Amazon." Well, if I go to Amazon, I'm gonna buy a shirt. If I go to Amazon, I'm gonna get something, for my car. Very rarely am I on, unless I know you. And now I know you, I'm gonna go to Amazon and I'm gonna buy your book.
Oh, thank you.
Um, but um, and I say to all the authors that I know that you need some books in the back of your car. You So do you buy books and go to expos and shows and things like this and book signing? Because I'm looking at possibly doing a author's book signing thing, bringing a lot of first time book authors and celebrity people, a lot of the older celebrities that I know that are not on TV anymore,
Right, right.
and they're writing books, because they can't go to work at Amazon because they was on Seinfeld 3, 4 episodes. So then they're recognizable, and it's difficult for those people to transition out of that entertainment, being in front of the camera all the time, to actually stocking shelves at Stater Brothers. Uh,
Yeah.
so so they write books. So
So,
would you be open to come to a book fair, bring your books, and sell your books on the spot?
well, it's interesting with self-publishing on Amazon. They have rules and regulations of sort. So, I try to get published by a big publishing company, but I sent out maybe 200 query letters to agents and publishers, uh, and none of them, most of them rejected me, and they never even read the manuscript. And their excuse was, "Oh, who are you to write this book? How many followers do you have on Instagram? If you don't have 25,000 followers in social media, we don't want to talk to you." And I'm like, "Well, isn't that your job to get me the followers?" So thank goodness for
They're
Amazon.
bad managers.
Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness for Amazon. It's allowed me to publish my book that I'm very proud of. It took me 5 years to write it, and I had to figure out how to get it published. I hired a graphic designer to design the cover. I hired a copy editor to help me copy edit the book and to proofread it. I'm doing some marketing. This is part of my marketing campaign. Amazon has a marketing platform as well, LinkedIn, those kind of things. So self-publishing it through Amazon is a lot different than being published through a major publishing company.
Now,
Now,
I have a print shop. I'm going to ask you this. I have a print shop. Why wouldn't you pay the graphic guy, you got a editor, copy guy, you got all those pieces, put the book together. Why wouldn't you walk into a print shop and say, "Give me 50 of these"?
because it's expensive,
Okay.
Amazon is very reasonable. It
Okay.
aside from paying for the graphic artist and the editor, it costs nothing to put a book up in Amazon. Now, it's up to you to make it a good book, but you know, I went to print shops, I went to companies that do that, very very expensive. Now, Amazon has something called print on demand. So when you order your book, they print it and then they sell it.
Okay.
So it's not at a warehouse somewhere. So it's only print on demand.
Okay. Okay.
So
All
what
right.
I
I
do,
like that.
yeah, it's great. Thank goodness for Amazon. What I do in terms of signing and stuff like that, I can't sell the book outside of Amazon.
Oh,
But what I could do is have raffles for the book. Like I'll bring 20 copies and raffle them away and sign the book. That's what I could do to promote the book. And then I tell the people, if you like it, please tell your friends. And any organization, Rich, any company can get something of value from this book. Big, small, doesn't matter. Tech, manufacturing, healthcare, whatever it is, they can get a lot from this. It's only 90 pages long. It's like a couple hour. It's a nice compact guide.
Read. Okay, nice. Okay. So, and I didn't know that Amazon doesn't allow you to sell your own book.
No.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah. Okay. That's way heavy there. Okay. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Business owners are raving about the new talk show, Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace. Tune in as the top experts in business share their success stories, strategies, guidance, and advice to help you grow your business. With guests from the top companies to your favorite influencers, Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace is the show to watch for all things business. Our conversations are strictly business. We discuss new funding options, new business initiatives, best business practices, all things business explained. We provide you with the tips you need for your business, all in one morning business talk show. Be sure to tune in. Are you a business owner? Do you have a story to share? Are you able to help our audience? Then we want you on Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace. Visit the website at edgetvnetwork.net and select Be a Guest to schedule your appearance today.
Okay. All right. So we I got a couple of quick things. We're having our celebrity golf tournament coming up on June 19th. It's going to be at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So if I can get you to come out. We also have a business directory. I invite you to go to the blackchamberofcommerce.org website, open up the directory, and list your book and the information in that directory. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to be a member to be able to do that. We want to be able to promote your book throughout, because we're looking at trying to help our small business people. Yeah. And if you have a vehicle that's going to help the small business person, we need to get that vehicle in their hand. And we'll invite you out sometime to do some workshops and that kind of thing. And if you're on our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org, you can become a member for only $200, and you don't have to be black to join. I get that question a lot. We're part of the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, the Asian Business Association, the Filipino Chamber of Commerce, and we also belong to Cal Chambers, which is the California State Mainstream City Chambers groups. So we belong to all those groups because we're trying to get the information to our small business people so they can be able to navigate their thing. One of the things that a small business entrepreneur doesn't have, even if they have money, they don't have time. So that's what they run out of. And I talk to a lot of people, oh, if I had some money, I could do this and I could do that. But then they get into what you're saying is hiring people. Small business people don't know how to hire people. So they don't know what you just said, going through checking the list. That's another person's job. Right. A personnel manager or whatever you want to call them, to be able to seek that. So here's the good person for you. We own a charter school, Youth Power Community Solution, which is our nonprofit for the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, as a youth build program charter school. And we have to hire teachers. We have to hire people for that. Now, that's my job. Thank you, Jesus. But I have the right people in place. We have 15 chapters of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce. So we've got over 37 board members, which are all volunteers. So we got to manage those volunteers. There's a president in the low desert, the high desert, Palm Springs desert, Long Beach, all over the place, Culver City, Beverly Hills, Hollywood. We have locations. So this episode here will be played. They're going to be seen throughout Southern California. We also belong to our state offices and our national offices. So we really work hard at trying to be a part of things that are going to help our small business people. We're going to be celebrating Women of the Year coming up on May 11th out in our Riverside location. So there's going to be an opportunity. So if anyone is interested in finding out what we're doing and where we're doing it at, you want to go to our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org and be able to connect the dots, which is going to help you. And I always tell people it's going to help you with the level that you're at, and then help you move to the next level. because as you were saying earlier, when I had one restaurant, I was killing them. I had it going on. I had 19 employees part-time coming and going. I lived in California. My places were in Texas. So it was all good. I could handle that. I took on two more stores. And then it got to be, I never left Texas. I was just down there every day dealing with something, So managing people is the key. Your position to teach managers to manage is going to be a win-win going forward.
Absolutely.
And I just know it is. And then coming into some of this new technology and things that we have going on here that changes minute by minute, we have to be able to stay up. And how do you stay up on that as a small business person, as a manager, and as someone that wants to be an entrepreneur? Because the businesses that are here, now, they're going to be another 500 businesses by this time next year.
Yeah.
So it's necessary to teach people how to hire, how to manage a payroll company. JustWorks is one of our payroll companies that come in and help people navigate through the things that they need to be able to navigate. So it's necessary for business people to manage their time more so than even their money, because if you manage your time right, the money manages it itself. So going in, I want to look at this book. I want to be able to say, okay, how do I manage people? And you say it's respect, it's dignity, but I just need you to sweep the floor.
But it's all with that foundation: sweeping floors, washing windows, accountants, physicians. It's all the same. It's all about motivating people. It's all about making them feel welcome and appreciated. And it's building that foundation of trust, transparency, and respect. It all comes back to that. And you mentioned everybody. People are managing all sorts of things and people every day. So this book gives you a guide on how to do that. I do want to say, if people want more information, they could go to dandems.com, DANDEMS.com, and more information on it. And again, my book is Enlightened Management by Alejandro Diaz. It's on Amazon. It's a Saturday afternoon read, or if you're flying to Vegas, take it with you. You can read it on the plane.
Let me see the back of that. You got your picture on the back? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I got my picture in the back. And these are notes that I received throughout the years of people I've worked with that enjoyed working with me. And that's very important to me. That I want to leave
testimonies. You got some testimonies on the back of the book.
Yes. I want to leave a positive impact on everyone I come into contact with, at work, outside of work. We can do that. We can really make this a great place for all of us. It takes work, but it takes the right attitude. Like, I'm going to make this the best workplace, and it's going to benefit my business in the long run as well. But leaving a positive impact with people, that's my main goal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Enlightened Management book, Amazon. So if I go to Amazon, would I type in Enlightened Management to be able to pull it up?
It pulls up right away.
Yeah. Pulls up right away. Get the book, and we're gonna push you to put it on tape pretty soon, so that so I can ride around in my car and listen to it and the download, or whatever they use in the day. When I say tape, I still use cassette tapes. I'm sorry. So I'm doing some studying over here on the side, and I got a cassette tape because I need to stop it and I need to start it again. I need to make my notes and these kinds of things. So always training to make things better. Alejandro, give us that website one more time before we cut out.
DANDEMS.com, dandems.com, which stands for D&E Management Solutions. dandems.com for more information.
Management Solutions. Okay, I like that. So thank you so much for being a part of Strictly Business this morning. It has been great, and we're gonna reach back out to you. I'll have Imani give you a call and touch bases with you, and have you come out to speak at one of our workshops and things that we have. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Good news for the Southern California business community. Now you can add your business to the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce Business Directory complimentary. We have been working tirelessly to build a list of Black-owned enterprises in Southern California. This is an excellent way for you to be a part of an expansive network and find your ideal customers, business partners, and vendors. So don't waste time. Visit blackchamberofcommerce.org today and add your business today.
Hey, one last word. I need you to go sign up for the Celebrity Golf Tournament. I need you to be connected. I need you to get a booth. I need you to come out and be with us. Love to see you. Love to have you. I'll be here tomorrow morning. We got another author coming on. I think this book thing might be working out for some people. So be here tomorrow morning at our 7 a.m. Southern California time here on an episode of Strictly Business. My name is Rich Wallace, and I appreciate you so much for being